Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 2nd of October 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff, a few of the charts that we looked at yesterday just to see how everything is getting along. But as always, before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, also just a quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos. And of course our JFD Bank website and specifically our JFD Research tab here, which you can also check out on a daily basis. And I believe you can find a lot of useful stuff here, guys. So feel free to visit us here. Like I said, yep, I hope you and I believe you can find a lot of useful stuff. But right now, let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the FTSE 100. Now, I talked about this one from the beginning of this week, and basically, I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on some of the levels, and yesterday, during my tea time, it was working out nicely initially, but then kind of sold off heavily. So basically, what I was talking about here was that, and in a way, what I was talking about in my video in the morning yesterday. So even if we see a slide lower here, if this area here holds the 7,380 zone, we could see a bit of a rebound here and a push back to the upside. And yesterday during my trader's tea time, yes, it did exactly that. It managed to travel higher, but the disappointment in the ISM manufacturing figures in the U.S. Brought everything down, and this is the scenario that we got. So you can see that yesterday the index closed slightly, or should I say, slightly below the 7,380 zone, but still above the 7,351 area that I also mentioned about what I mentioned in my previous videos. So, but looking at the cash index right now, we can see that the FTSE is already below this level, so below the 7,351. So in a way, it increases the chances for a further slide down here. And also, we could see a continuation move lower. If it continues to trade below the 7,350 zone, then yes, we will aim for lower levels according to the plan here. Because, like I said yesterday, I've talked about this level that a break of the 7,350 could, in a way, lead towards further declines. If by any chance this suddenly reverses and pushes back up here, still up until the 7,380 zone, we will remain somewhat bearish, but if it suddenly pushes above the 7,380 zone, then we could start looking at higher levels. The only thing is this, just still for that extra confirmation, a push above the 7,440 level. This is what could do the trick for more buyers, because this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and we could see this one pushing higher. So that's why, guys, there is a lot of buts here. In a way, for now, given that the cash index is already trading below the 7,350 zone, we could see this one sliding further down. But let's say if it gets a hold up around here, somewhere near the 200 EMA, and then if it struggles to drop below this, then we could see maybe this one reversing back to the upside. But again, we'll be very careful here, because this move higher, this little short move higher, could be seen as a temporary correction. So But if it travels back above the 7,380 zone, now this is where it could become a little bit more interesting for the bulls, but more of them could be joining in around here near the 7,440 zone. So for now, keep your eyes on this one. It's a very interesting index, let's put it that way. Let's see how this is going to play out. But for now, let's say if it continues to slide below the 200 EMA here, then yep, well, I mean, we could see further declines, and we could see maybe a test of the 7,284, 85 zone, and then we'll take it from there. So, but for now, we'll be very careful, and just in case this, let's say, decides to reverse a little bit to the upside here, but then yep, all eyes are on the 7,380 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. Gold. Gold, of course, is enjoying its moment, or should I say, the gold bulls are enjoying the moment of the slide in the equities. And you can see that this is what we had. So the safe haven status kind of kicked in here, and the commodity, the precious metal, reversed to the upside. Now I talked about a potential reversal here, but to be honest, I was really hoping to see a little bit more movement to the downside. So it didn't quite reach the first level that I was talking about, the 1456 area. It reached the 1458, 59 zone. So just fell shy of a few kind of points, a few dollars from reaching this, and this would then be ideal for me. But again, you can see that yes, we did have that recovery. We didn't have it did push higher, but it got held near this 1484 zone. I talked about this one previously because this is the level for us to start considering maybe slightly higher levels. Don't get me wrong, we're not going to get way too positive if we see a push above the 1484, because still there are a bunch of obstacles like the 200 EMA, like this one right here, the 1512 zone, of course the psychological 1500 level itself. So and for us, let's say, to get really comfortable with higher levels, a push above the 1512 level would be needed. But here right now at this point, yes, we did have a nice push higher. It failed to push above the 1484 zone, and or should I say failed to close above that. And now it retraced back lower. If the weakness in the equities continues, then yep, we could see gold reversing and pushing higher again. Maybe this time we could see that breaking a close above the 1484 zone. But still, we'll be very careful here. Maybe this, like I said, this could have been that a little correction that I was talking about. So before another leg of selling. So that's why, guys, with gold here, be very careful. Yes, it has a good chance to move higher as well, but probably the way we can play this one out is just to wait for a clear breakthrough, one of our key areas of support or resistance, and then act on this one. Because basically what we could do here right now is with this one is, let's say if I'm going to shift this little bit here to mark the yesterday's low, and that was around the 1459 zone. So in a way, if we get a drop below this level here, then this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could target slightly lower areas. We could now aim for that my 1453 zone, but if that fails to withhold, then yep, 1433 area, that's what we're keeping a close eye on here, and it will be quite interesting to see. I do understand it's quite a big of a move here to miss out, but to be honest, at this point in time here, some could say even that it's maybe flagging out here on the shorter time frame. So on the 4-hour chart, you can see this nice pole here, so it could be a bullish flag, but again, before it could confirm that scenario, we need to see a push above the 1484 zone. This way, the commodity would also travel above its 21 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, and then we could target these key areas of resistance, the 200 EMA and the 1500 level. So jumping into a few pairs now very quickly. AUDUSD, I talked about this one yesterday, and basically I was talking about these two levels. So this was what was the first one that I was saying, guys, to keep an eye on. So we did have a nice slide. So in the morning, I was talking about this level still. So the 0.6686, we were still hanging around somewhere around here near the 67 zone. We did have a test of the 0.6686, but we also had a pierce through this one, and this is the area which held nicely, the 0.6673. Of course, it did overshoot it a little bit, but nevertheless, this area kind of remained a key area of support, as it did in the beginning of August as well this year. So we saw a nice rebound. Of course, the US ISM numbers helped to rebound, this rebound. But what I was saying yesterday as well, that even if we see a rebound here, a correction, be very careful. We may see something like this happening, and we could see maybe a hold up here near below the 0.6730 zone. And what I was saying, that if it struggles to push back above it, then we could see something like this, a curve basically, and a move back down here. Now, in terms of this level right here, and let me just actually lower this highlighted area, because to be honest, this is going to be a more important level now, from now on. And this is basically what we're going to be monitoring very carefully. So the 0.6673, or in a way you could round it up towards the 70 zone as well, just for the sake of it. And if we see another drop here towards this level, now this is where it could become very, very interesting for this pair, because a drop below the 0.6670 zone could, in a way, would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could enter the territory. And let me just jump into a daily chart on this one, guys. If I'm not mistaken, I think it'll have to be even a weekly chart, because we would be getting lower into towards the levels last seen in 2009, guys. So in the February 2009, February basically. So probably more of a March. So March levels of 2009, guys. So keep your eyes on this one. It's very low, and yep, there is a possibility still to move lower. But again, I'll repeat myself, that's only if we see a slide back down here towards this 0.6670 zone, and if we see a break of it. So I mean, this would attract more sellers here, and we could see this one drifting further to the downside. Again, don't get me wrong, maybe this has been already that strong area of support from which, let's say, the pair could push higher and move in the upwards direction. But in order for us, let's say, to get comfortable in the medium term with the upside, well, a push above the 0.6780 zone, approximately around there, could in a way do the trick here, and we could then target higher levels. Up until then, we'll be very, very careful here, because at any point it could still reverse back to the downside, and drift back towards this 0.6670 zone, and then we'll take it from there. If it wants to break that, then, well, that's good news for the sellers. If it wants to stay above it, maybe this could be that plateau from which the pair could reverse and move to the upside in the near term, or even in the medium term. So keep your eyes on some of these levels. USDCHF. Yesterday I talked about this one, and what I was saying, guys, in my videos, in my morning, and then my traders tea time, we were seeing a nice reversal. Basically, initially, I'll start from the beginning. So in the morning video, I was talking about this level right here, the 1.0013 zone. So it managed to reach that area. It managed to overshoot it and test the 1.0016 area. So it reversed from there. What I was hoping for, maybe a bit of correction, and we were getting that correction. But then in my traders tea time, I told you guys to keep a close eye on this level here, the 0.9984 zone, because if we get a break below that, if it fails to withhold the rate from moving lower, a break of it could open the door towards lower areas. We could initially aim for the 0.9948 zone, which we managed to reach and easily managed to break, and the pair continued to travel lower. And still, what I was saying, that for us to Um, well, for us, still the same target remains here near the 0.99 zone. That's basically this could be that breakout point where we could see the pair drifting further down in the near term. But for now, of course, the main focus will be on this lower side of the rising channel formation, because at the moment, yes, it is correcting back up here, but again, we could see this one as just a correction, if it, especially if it holds below the 0.9948 zone, or in a way you could round it up towards the 50, or even just for today only, we'll keep an eye on this pivot, today's pivot, which is around the 0.9956. So in a way, we could see maybe an overshoot here above this 21 EMA. Maybe the 0.9956 level could in a way hold the rate down, and if it does, then we could see something like this basically, guys. So you're following probably already what I'm going to draw here. So this is what we're going to be we could be seeing here. So in a way, for now, keep your eyes on the 0.9948 50s territory. If it gets an overshoot, then keep your eyes on the 0.9957 56 territory. If that holds, now this is where the turning point could be, and then we could target our lower side of the range. But in order to, let's say, consider the upside again, well, I push back above this 0.9984 zone. That's what we would need to see initially, because still for that extra confirmation, a push above the yesterday's highs could do the trick here, and this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and we could aim further towards our upper side of the channel. So for now, that's the game plan. Let's see how this is going to play out. GBPNZD, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I just wanted to show you a quick update. So yes, it did manage to move a little bit to the upside here. It managed to move higher in the beginning of this week, but yesterday found a good resistance here near the 1.9780 83 zone. So I talked about this level in one of my previous videos here, and basically I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this one, because this is the level where we could consider maybe the upside again. So a push above the 97.83 could in a way do the trick here for the buyers, and we could see this one traveling maybe back towards the psychological 2 level. But as you can see, the rate got held here again, so and then it drifted to the downside, but still failed to move above this 1.9615 zone. I talked about this one previously as well, but to be honest, we can actually, because it's a bit of a tentative one now becoming, because as you can see, it was violated here a few times, so we can actually get rid of it, just not to overcomplicate stuff. So the main focus for us still is this level here, around the 1.944850 zone, because that's where we could get a little bit more comfortable with lower levels. But again, for now, if this decides to drift lower, yes, that's good news for the bears, but this could be aiming for this upside support line taken from the low of the 30th of July. So in a way, it could drift lower. It could test this upside line, but if it fails to drop below this, then we could see a nice rebound and a push back to the upside. But if this starts breaking it further and we see a drop below the 1.9448 zone, and then maybe as well the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, then yep, we could aim for a little bit lower levels here and maybe towards the 1.93 zone. But again, like I said, we'll take it from there. For now, that's the situation here. So for the upside, still keep an eye on this 1.9783 zone. A nice pop above this could open the path towards lower levels. If this decides to slide a little bit lower, yes, it could do. But again, it could get a hold up near this upside support line. So keep your eyes on that one. And the USD, last one for this session. I talked about this one a lot recently, and from the beginning of this week, I keep talking about this one. And yesterday, after failing to move below the let me just quickly put this one a little bit lower here, below the 1.0878 zone, it reversed again to the upside, also on the ISM figures, and it traveled back above the 1.0924. I talked about this level here, guys, in my previous videos, and this is what I was saying. So if we see a push back above this 1.0924 zone, yes, I mean, this could in a way help the pair to move back up here, but still for us to get more excited with slightly higher levels, we would need to wait for a push above the 1.0964 zone here, and then we could aim for slightly higher levels, but these higher levels, this upside could be limited due to this downside resistance line taken from the high of June here. So again, we could consider the upside, but we'll get more comfortable with it if we get a push above the 1.0964 zone. That's the probably more cautious approach. But for those who are more on the riskier side, you could keep an eye on this area right here. If we see, let's say, something, another drop here, another maybe move, a move below the 1.0924 zone, looking at, and for today only, looking at this pivot, which is around the 1.0917, so something like that. So if it gets an overshoot below the 1.0924, but let's say stays above the pivot, then we could see maybe this one curving back up here a little bit, and maybe then we could push towards the 1.0964. So again, that's it's just an idea. You guys be the judge. But if it continues to kind of hang around here, if it struggles to push below this, then we could see this one curving up and pushing to the upside again. Of course, in this kind of idea here, of course, you need to have your stop loss in place, probably a tight one, just in case, or maybe somewhere around here near the 1.0904, something like that zone here. Because if it drops below the 1.0904, then in a way it could drive all the way here towards the lows of yesterday near the 1.0878. But if that fails to withhold, then yep, forthcoming lower low could be possible, and then we could aim, or I wouldn't say even could be possible, it would be a forthcoming lower low, and then we could aim for the 1.0839 zone. So I talked about this level here previously, so that's the level going back into 2017. Let me just quickly double check that, guys. So the 1.09, yep, that's basically the lowest point of May 2017, guys. So keep your eyes on that one. But again, for now, looking at this picture, let's see if the 1.0924 holds. If it does, then we could see this one curving up again. And but for that extra confirmation of the upside, short-term upside, we would need to see a push above the 1.0964 level. So again, keep your eyes on this one, guys. Okay, I'll have to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching it till the end, guys. If you want to join me later on at my Traders Tea Time, as always, that's 13:15 GMT. For now, I hope you have a beautiful trading day, guys, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.